Khushi, these are for you. Happiness brings me close to you. Signs of happiness. There was a young couple who led a very happy life together. The only thing they worried about was whether their happiness would last forever or would they too would have to face problems. One day they heard that a wise old man had come to town. He could solve all kinds of problems and guide people. So the couple decided to visit the wise old man and tell him their source of worry. The wise old man told them, travel around the world and seek a man or the woman who are perfectly happy as a couple. When you find such a couple, ask them for a piece of cloth from the man's shirt. Then keep that piece of cloth with you and you'll always remain happy. The young couple began their journey to find the happiest couple in the world in one place. They heard that the governor and his wife were the happiest people, so they went to the place and asked them, are you the happiest couple? Yeah, we are happy in every way except for one thing. We do not have any children. Well, that didn't make it the governor and his wife the happiest couple. So they continued their journey. They arrived in one city where they had heard that the happiest couple lived. They went to their house and asked them, are you the happiest couple? Yes, well, we are really happy in every way except that we had to have too many children, which make our life a bit uncomfortable. No, this couple did not sound to be the happiest, and they continued their journey. They visited many countries, cities, towns, and villages, asked the same question. But they did not find what they were looking for. One day the young couple came across the shepherd in the desert. The shepherd was grazing his sheep with his wife and the child came along. The shepherd greeted his wife and gently patted the child she was carrying. She laid the mat and started to eat contentedly. And the young couple came to them and asked them, are you the happiest couple? The shepherd and his wife replied, nobody is unhappier than the king. The young couple immediately realized that they were the happiest couple and asked them for a piece of the shepherd's shirt so that their happiness too would last throughout. The shepherd said, if I give you a piece of the cloth from my shirt, then I will be left without any clothes since I own just one shirt. The young couple at once understood that it is very difficult to find a perfect happiness anywhere in the world. The couple decided to return to their own country. They went to the wise old man, related all that they had taken place, and then they complained that this guidance was difficult to abide by. The wise old man laughed and said, was your journey useless or did you learn something from it? Young man replied, yes, after this trip I have learned that in this world nobody is perfectly happy. Only that person is happy who does everything to please God. And whatsoever follows Allah's guidance on them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. The wife said, I have learned that in order to be happy, it is important to remember two things. First, all human beings should be thankful and contented with whatever they have. And your Lord declared publicly, if you are grateful, I will add more favors unto you. Secondly, for ultimate happiness, one must always practice patience. Seek help through patience, perseverance, and prayers. After that, the young couple thanked the wise old man for his guidance and returned home. The wise man prayed for them and said, indeed, the sign of happiness is in their heart, and they have good manners, and if the lifetime is spent in pleasures of God, there will be no difference in the existence of mankind. Aha, beautiful. Whosoever follows God's guidance will not lose his way or fall into misery, but whoever turns away from this message, verily for him is a miserable life. La la la, hope and greed. Caliph Harun Rashid desired that anyone who had been seen the holy prophet saw in his lifetime be brought before him. After some time, a very old woman who was brought before the Caliph. The Caliph asked the old woman, did you see the Prophet yourself? Yes, sir. The Caliph then asked her if she remembered any narration from him. She said, yes. When old age comes, two things become young. One is hope, and the other is greed. The Caliph thanked her and gave her 1,100 dinars. The woman thanked Caliph and she was taken aback. Half the way, some thought passed through her mind and she desired to be brought before the Caliph once more. When she was shown in, the Caliph asked, well, why have you come back? I just came to inquire whether the monies you gave me were once for all, or is it to continue every year? The Caliph thought, how true is the Prophet? Saw word. She has hope of life even now, and she has greed for money too. The Caliph said, "Don't worry, you will be paid every year." She was taken back, but on the way she breathed her last. Oh my. So true, right? Four wives. Once upon a time, there was a rich merchant who had four wives. He loved the fourth the most and adored her with rich robes and treated her with delicacies. He took great care of her and gave her nothing but the best. He also loved the third wife very much. He is very proud of her and always wanted to show her off to friends. However, the merchant is always in fear that she might run away with some other man. He loved the second wife. She is a very considerate person, always patient, and in fact the merchant's confidante. Whenever the merchant faced some problems, he always turned to his second wife, and she would always help him out and guide him through difficult times. Now, the merchant's first wife is a very loyal partner and has made great contributions in maintaining his wealth and business as well as taking care of the household. However, the merchant did not love the first wife, and although she loved him deeply, he hardly took notice of her. One day the merchant felt ill. Before long he knew that he was going to die soon. He thought of his luxurious life and told himself, "Now I have four wives with me, but when I die I will be alone. How lonely I'll be." Thus he asked the fourth wife, "I loved you most, endowed you with the finest clothing, and showered you great care over you. Now that I'm dying, will you follow me and keep me company?" "No, no, no, no way," said the fourth wife. She walked away without another word. Answer cut like a sharp knife right in the merchant's heart. The sad merchant then asked the third wife, "I have loved you so much for all my life. Now that I'm dying, will you show me, follow me and keep me company?" "No, life is so good over here. I'm going to remarry when you die." The merchant's heart sank and turned cold. Then the second wife, "I always turn to you for help and you have always helped me out. Now I need your help again. When I die, will you follow me and keep me company?" "I'm sorry, I can't help you out this time," said the second. "At the very most, I can only send you to your grave." Answer came like a bolt of thunder and merchant was devastated. Then a voice called out, "I'll live with you. I'll follow you no matter where you go." The merchant looked up and that was his first wife. She was so skinny, almost like she suffered from malnutrition. Greatly grieved, the merchant said, "I should have taken much better care of you while I could have. Actually, we all have four wives in our lives. The fourth wife is our body. No matter how much time and effort we lavish in making it look good, it leaves us when we die. Our third wife is our possession, status, and wealth. When we die, they all go to others. The second wife is our family and friends. No matter how close they have been for us when we are alive, the furthest they can stay by us is by the grave. The first wife is in fact our soul, often neglected in our pursuit of material wealth and sensual pleasure. Guess what? It is actually the only thing that follows us wherever we go. Perhaps it is a good idea to cultivate and strengthen it now rather than to wait until we are on our deathbed to lament. Aha! Since it's going with us, so why not? Forever and ever, we'll stick with our soul power. The sole purpose of life is to rise from your lower self to your higher self. Lion, rat, snake, and honeycomb. Once a man saw in his dream that a lion was chasing him. The man ran to a tree, climbed onto it, and sat on a branch. He looked down and saw that the lion was still there waiting for him. The man then looked to his side, where the branch he was sitting on was attached to a tree, and that two rats were circling around and eating the branch. One rat was black and the other was white. The branch would fall on the ground very soon. The man then looked below again with fear and discovered that the black snake had come and sat directly under him. Snake opened his mouth right under the man so that he fell into it. The man then looked up to see if there was anything that he could hold on to. He saw another branch with the honeycomb, the drops of honey falling from it. The man wanted to taste one of the drops, so he put his tongue out and tasted out one of the fallen drops of honey. The honey was amazing and taste. So he wanted to taste another drop, and he did, and he got lost into the honey sweetness. Meanwhile, he forgot about the two rats eating his branch away, the lion on the ground, and the snake that is sitting right under him. After a while, he woke up from his sleep. To get the meaning behind the dream, the man went to the pious scholar of Islam. The scholar said, "The lion you saw is your death, always chases you and goes wherever you go." Aha! The two rats, one black and one white, are the night and day. Black one is the night, white is the day. They circle around, coming one after another to eat your time as they take you closer to death. The big black snake with a dark mouth is your grave, is there just waiting for you to fall into it. The honeycomb in this world and the sweet honey is the luxuries of this world. We like to taste a drop of the luxuries of this world, but it's very sweet. Then we taste another drop and yet another. Meanwhile, we get lost into it and we forget about our time, we forget about the death, and we forget about the graves. This world is like a serpent, so soft to touch, but so full of a lethal poison. And wise people are allured by it and drawn towards it. And wise men avoid it and keep away from its poisonous effects. Wow, Imam all. As la la la. Got it? The most beautiful heart. One day, a young man was standing in the middle of the town proclaiming that he had the most beautiful heart in the whole valley. A large crowd gathered and they all admired his heart, for it was perfect. There was not a mark or a flaw in it. Yes, they all agreed it truly was the most beautiful heart they had ever seen. The young man was very proud and boasted more loudly about his beautiful heart. Suddenly, an old man appeared in the front of the crowd and said, "Why, your heart is not nearly as beautiful as mine." The crowd and the young man looked at the old man's heart. It was beating strongly but full of scars. It had places where pieces had been removed and other pieces put in. They didn't fit quite right, and there were several jagged edges. In fact, in some places there were deep gorges where whole pieces were missing, and the people stared. How could he say that his heart is more beautiful than they thought? The young man looked at the old man's heart and saw it stayed and laughed. "You must be joking. Compare your heart with mine. Mine is perfect and yours is a mess of scars and tears." "Yes, yours is perfect looking, but I would never trade with you. You see, every scar represents a person on whom I have given my love. I tear out a piece of my heart and I give it to them. And often they give me a piece of their heart which fits into the empty place in my heart. But because the pieces aren't exact, I have some rough edges which I cherish because they remind me of the love we shared. Sometimes I have given pieces of my heart away, but the other person hasn't returned a piece of his heart to me. They are empty gorges. Giving love is taking a chance. Although these gorges are painful, they stay open, reminding me of the love I have for these people too. And I hope someday they may return and fill the space I have waiting. So now do you see what true beauty is?" The young man stood silently with tears running down his cheeks. He walked up to the old man, reached into his perfect young and beautiful heart and ripped a piece out. He offered it to the old man with trembling hands. The old man took his offering, placed it in his heart, and then took a piece from his old scarred heart and placed it in the wound in the young man's heart. It fit, but not perfectly, as there were some jagged edges. The young man looked at his heart, not perfect anymore, but more beautiful than ever. Since love from the old man's heart flowed into his, they embraced and walked away side by side. Physical perfection is not always beautiful. La la la. The Club 99. Some time ago, there lived a king. The king should have been contented with his life, given all the riches and the luxuries he had. However, this was not the case. The king always found himself wondering why he just never seemed content with his life. Sure, he had the attention for everyone wherever he went, attended fancy dinners and parties, but somehow he still felt something was lacking and couldn't put his finger on it. One day, the king had woken up earlier than usual to stroll around his palace. He entered his huge living room and came to stop when he heard someone happily singing away. Following the singing, he saw that one of his servants was singing and had a very contented look on his face. This fascinated the king, and he summoned his man to his chambers. The man entered the king's chamber as ordered. The king asked him why he was happy. Your Majesty, I am nothing but a servant, but I make enough of a living to keep my wife and children happy. We don't need too much. A roof over our heads and warm food for fill our tummy. My wife and children are my inspiration. They are content with whatever little I bring home. I'm happy because my family is happy. Hearing this, the king dismissed the servant and summoned his personal assistant to his chambers. The king related his personal anguish about his feelings and then related the story of a servant to his personal assistant, hoping that somehow he would be able to come up with some reasoning that here was a king who wouldn't have anything he wished for it at a snap of his fingers, and yet he was not contented, whereas his servant, having so little, was extremely contented. The personal assistant listened attentively and came to a conclusion. He said, Your Majesty, I believe that the servant has not been made part of 99 Club. The 99 Club? And what exactly is that? The king inquired. To which the assistant replied, Your Majesty, to truly know what the 99 Club is, you will have to do the following. Place 99 gold coins in a bag and leave it at the servant's doorstep, and you will then understand what the 99 Club is. The very same evening, the king arranged for 99 gold coins to be placed in a bag at the servant's doorstep. Although he was slightly hesitant and he thought he should have put 100 gold coins in the bag, but since his assistant had advised him to put 99, that is what he did. The servant was just stepping out of his house when he saw a bag at his doorstep. Wondering about its contents, he took it into the house and opened the bag. When he opened the bag, he let out a great big shout of joy. Gold coins, so many of them, he could hardly believe it. He called his wife and to show her the coins. He then took the bag to a table and emptied it out and began to count the coins. Doing so, he realized that there were 99 coins, and he thought it was odd number. So he counted again and again and again, and only to come to the same conclusion, 99 gold coins. He began to wonder what would have happened to the last one coin if no one would ever leave 99 coins. He began to search his entire house, looked around his backyard for hours, not wanting to lose out on that one coin. Finally exhausted, he decided that he was going to have to work harder than ever to make up for that one gold coin, to make his entire collection and even 100 gold coins. He got up the next morning in an extremely horrible mood, shouting at the children and his wife for his delay, not realizing that he had spent most of the night conjuring ways of working hard so that he had enough money to buy himself the gold coin. He went to work as usual, but not in his usual good best mood, singing happily as he grumpily did his daily errands. Seeing the man's attitude change so drastically, the king was puzzled. He promptly summoned his assistant to his chambers. The king related his thoughts about the servant, and once again his assistant listened. The king could not believe that the servant, who until yesterday had been singing away and was happy and content with his life, had taken a sudden change of attitude, even though he should have been happier after receiving the gold coins. To this the assistant replied, but this Majesty, Your Majesty, the servant has now officially joined the 99 Club. The 99 Club is just a name given to those people who have everything but yet are never contented. Therefore, they are always working hard and striving for that extra one to round it out to 100. We have so much to be thankful for, and we can live with a very little in our lives. But the minute we are given something bigger and better, we want even more. We are not the same happy, contented person we used to be. We want more and more, and by wanting more and more, we don't realize the price we pay for it. We lose our sleep, our happiness, we hurt the people around us, just as the price to pay for our growing needs and desires. That is what joining the 99 Club is all about. Hearing This king decided that from that day onwards, he was going to start appreciating all the little things in life. Striving for more is always good, but let's not strive so hard and for so much that we lose all those near and dear to our hearts. We shouldn't compromise our happiness for moments of luxuries. Repentance. A person once heard a pious Muslim say that for the last 30 years I'm repenting for a sin that I don't know how Allah would deal with me regarding it. The listener asks, what was your sin? Pious man said, I used to have a shop in the bazaar. One day I heard that the whole bazaar was burning, so I rushed to see my shop. When I reached there, I saw that except my shop, all the shops were razed to the ground. I said, all praise to Allah, but immediately I realized my mistake. How can I call myself a Muslim when I couldn't feel the loss of my neighbors? That is why I'm repenting for that lapse on my part for the last 30 years. Wow. The neighbor. Said Javed Amili, a great mujahid, was having his dinner when someone knocked at the door. A servant from his master, Alyuta Syed Burman, Amon appeared and he said, your master has sent for you to come immediately. He has just sat down for his dinner, but he refuses to eat until he sees you. There was no time to lose. Syed Javed left his dinner and rushed to Ayad Barrel Room's residence. Just as he entered, the master looked disapprovingly at him and said, Syed Javed, you have no fear of Allah. Don't you feel ashamed in front of the Allah? This came as a shock to him, as he could not remember did anything to incur the wrath of his master. My master may guide me where I have failed. Beloved replied, if it is now a week that your neighbor and his family are without wheat and rice, he was trying to buy some dates from the shop on credit, but the shopkeeper refused to grant him any more credit. He returned home empty-handed, and the family is without a morsel of food. Said, taken by surprise, but Allah, I have no knowledge about this. This is why I'm displeased all the more. How can you be unaware of your own neighbor? 7 days of difficulties have passed, and you tell me that you do not know about it? Well, if you had known and ignored him despite your knowledge, then you would not even be a Muslim. Al-Ulum joined. Then he instructed him to take all the dishes of the food before him to his neighbor, sit with him to eat, so that he does not feel ashamed, and take some for his future ration, place it under his pillow or carpet so that he is not humiliated, and inform me that his work is completed. For not until then shall I eat. This man is not from me, who sleeps contentedly while his neighbor sleeps hungry. Peace be upon him. A box full of kisses. A story goes back some time ago. A man punished his 3-year-old daughter for wasting a roll of gold wrapping paper. Money was tight, and he became infuriated when the child tried to decorate the box to put under the Christmas tree. Nevertheless, the little girl brought the gift for her father the next morning and said, this is for you, Daddy. The man was embarrassed by his earlier overreaction, but his anger fled again when he found out the box was empty. He yelled at her, stating, don't you know when you give someone a present, there is supposed to be something inside? The little girl looked at him with tears in her eyes and cried, oh, Daddy, this is not empty at all. I blew kisses into the box. They are all for you, Daddy. The father was crushed. He put his arms around the little girl and begged for her forgiveness. Only a short time later, an accident took the life of the child. It is also told that her father kept that gold box by his bed for many years, and whenever he was discouraged, he would take out an imaginary kiss and remember the love the child who had put it there. In the very real sense, each one of us as human beings have been given a gold container filled with unconditional love and kisses. If from our children, family members, friends, and God, there is simply no other possession anyone could hold more precious than this. The 3 cows. There was a green and the fresh pasture in which the 3 cows lived, a white cow, a black cow, and the reddish-brown cow. The cows were kind to each other. They were very nice to each other. They used to graze in the meadow together, and they used to sleep near each other. Till it happened one day, the reddish-brown colored lion for the forest happened to pass that way. The lion was unhappy. It was hungry, and he looked at the prey On catching sight of the cows, it became glad but couldn't attack them because they were all together. So the lion sat in a corner and waited till the cows would separate from each other. The cows were together and wouldn't part away from each other because they knew that if they were together, no predator could attack them. The lion lay in ambush nearby for 2 or 3 days, but the cow continued to remain together and wouldn't separate from each other. The lion became unhappy. A plan occurred to him. It went towards the cows, greeted them, and said, "How are you, my friends? Are you fine? I have been remembering you for a long time because I'm too busy. I can't come to you and ask about your health. Today, I said to myself, anyhow, I should come and see you from near and visit you." The reddish brown cow said, "Sir, your coming has really pleased us and brightened our pasture." The lion said, "I've always remembered you. You have been ordered a better pasture made ready for you." Reddish brown said, "Sir, you have really obliged us and we are very thankful to you." Both the black and the white cow were troubled by their friend the reddish brown cow said, and were grieved at its thoughtlessness. They feared lest it should be deceived. They said to each other, "Which forest has not got a better pasture? Why does the reddish brown cow believe that the lion says? Doesn't it know that the lion seeks other animals only to prey on them?" The reddish brown cow became more and more a close friend to the lion each day. The black cow and the white cow advised as much as they could, but to no avail. One day the lion said to the reddish cow, "You know that the color of our bodies is dark and that the color of the body of white cow is light, and you also know that the light color is the opposite of the dark color. It will be very good if I eat the white cow so that there will be no difference among us any longer and that we will be able to live together well." The reddish brown cow accepted the saying of the selfish lion and started talking to the black cow to keep it busy so that the lion could eat the white cow with more ease. The white cow was left alone and was killed, while the black and the reddish cows were busy with idle talks. 2 or 3 days passed since the lion had devoured the white cow. The lion, angry and uneasy, was lying in a corner. The reddish brown cow was moving round the lion and grazing. The lion called the reddish brown cow. Cow answered, "Yes, sir. The color of my body and the color of your body are reddish brown, and the black does not go with our color. It will be very good if I eat the black cow that is in the forest. We will be the same color." The reddish brown cow accepted and moved away from the black cow. The lion attacked and devoured the black cow too, and so for the reddish